ChatGPT 5.1 Codex Max by ZV Mauschowitz, November 25, 2025. OpenAI has given us GPT 5.1 Codex Max, their best coding model for OpenAI Codex. They claim it is faster, more capable, and token efficient, and has better persistence on long tasks. It scores 77.9% on SWE Bench Verified, 79.9% on SWE Lancer IC SWE, and 58.1% on Terminal Bench 2.0, all substantial gains over GPT 5.1 Codex. It's triggering OpenAI to prepare for being high-level in cybersecurity threats. There's a 27-page system card. One could call this the secret real GPT 5.1 that matters. They even finally trained it to use Windows. Somehow, this is a new idea. My goal is for my review of Opus 4.5 to start on Friday, as it takes a few days to sort through new releases. This post was written before Anthropic revealed Opus 4.5, and we don't yet know how big an upgrade Opus 4.5 will prove to be. As always, try all your various options and choose what is best for you. The famous METR graph. GPT 5.1 Codex Max is a new high on the METR graph. METR's thread is here.
Prins METR, 50% accuracy, GPT 5.1 Codex Max equals 2 hours, 42 minutes. This is 25 minutes longer than GPT-5.
Samuel Albani, a data point for that AI 2027 graph.
Image. A chart compares how long, from seconds to years, coding tasks can be autonomously completed by AI agents at an 80% success rate versus model release dates from 2021 to 2028. Real measurements for GPT 3.5/4/4001 and Claude 3.5/3.7 track an exponential trend, contrasted with a steeper AI 2027 super exponential forecast, with a red star marking a hypothetical GPT-5 Codex Max around 2026.
That's in between the two lines, looking closer to linear progress, fingers crossed.
Image. A METR chart plots LLM release date against the human time needed for software engineering tasks the models can do half the time, with task labels ranging from finding a web fact to exploiting a buffer overflow. The scatter shows a steep recent climb, with models like O1, Claude 3.7/4 Sonnet, O4 Mini, O3, Grok 4, GPT-5, and GPT 5.1 Codex Max reaching harder tasks near the 2-hour mark.
Daniel Kokatailo, yep. Things seem to be going somewhat slower than the AI 2027 scenario. Our timelines were longer than 2027 when we published, and now they are a bit longer still. Around 2030, lots of uncertainty though, is what I say these days.
We do not yet know where Gemini 3 Pro lands on that graph. The system card. Automated software engineer is the explicit goal. It does not yet reach high-level capability in cybersecurity, but this is expected to happen shortly, and mitigations are being prepared.
GPT 5.1 Codex Max is our new frontier agentic coding model. It is built on an update to our foundational reasoning model, trained on agentic tasks across software engineering, math, research, medicine, computer use, and more. It is our first model natively trained to operate across multiple context windows through a process called compaction, coherently working over millions of tokens in a single task. Like its predecessors, GPT 5.1 Codex Max was trained on real-world software engineering tasks like PR creation, code review, front-end coding, and Q&A.
Basic disallowed content. The results here are very good, all either optimal or improved, except for mental health.
Image. A table titled Production Benchmarks, Higher is Better, compares scores for GPT 5.1 Thinking and GPT 5.1 Codex Max across categories like illicit, harassment, erotic content, extremism, hate, violence, sexual/minors, self-harm, mental health, and emotional reliance. Codex Max outperforms in most categories, e.g. illicit 0.920 versus 0.860, harassment 0.829 versus 0.747, with both models at 1 for personal data and extremism, but it scores lower on mental health, 0.519 versus 0.684.
Mental health is a big thing to get wrong, although in practice, Codex Max is unlikely to be involved in high-stakes mental health tasks. Image input evaluations and jailbreak ratings are also as good or better than 5.1. Sandbox. When running on the cloud, Codex uses its own isolated machine. When running on Mac OS or Linux, the agent is sandboxed by default.
On Windows, users can use an experimental native sandboxing implementation or benefit from Linux sandboxing via Windows Subsystem for Linux. Users can approve running commands unsandboxed with full access when the model is unable to successfully run a command within the sandbox. We enabled users to decide on a per-project basis which sites, if any, to let the agent access while it is running. This includes the ability to provide a custom allow list or deny list. Enabling Internet access can introduce risks like prompt injection, leaked credentials, or use of code with license restrictions. Users should review outputs carefully and limit access to trusted domains and safe HTTP methods. Learn more in the docs.
Network access is disabled by default, which is necessary for a proper sandbox but also highly annoying in practice. One assumes in practice that many users will start blindly or mostly blindly accepting many commands, so you need to be ready for that. Mitigations for harmful tasks and prompt injections. For harmful tasks, they trained on synthetic data to differentiate and refuse harmful tasks such as malware. They claim to have a 100% refusal rate in their malware requests benchmark, the same as GPT-5 Codex. Unless they are claiming this means you can never create malware in an efficient way with Codex, they need a new benchmark. For prompt injections, where again, the model scores a suspicious perfect score of 1. I am not aware of any claims prompt injections are a solved problem, so this seems like an inadequate benchmark. Preparedness Framework. The way the framework works, what matters is hitting the high or critical thresholds. I've come to almost think of these as the honest capability evaluations, since there's relatively little incentive to make number go up, and some incentive to make number not go up. If it goes up, that means something. Biological and chemical. Biological and chemical risk was already being treated as high. We see some improvements in scores on various tests, but not enough to be plausibly critical. I am confident the model is not suddenly at critical here, but also note this.
Miles Brundage. OpenAI should go back to reporting results on helpful-only models and system cards. It is not very informative to say, on a bunch of virology tasks, it refused to answer. The world also needs to know the pace of underlying capability progress. More generally, I get a pretty rushed vibe from recent OpenAI system cards, plus hope that the Safety and Security Committee is asking questions like, why couldn't you wait a few more days to let Irregular try out compaction? Why is there no helpful-only model, etc.?
At minimum, we should be saying, we concluded that this model is safe to release, so we will publish the card with what we have, and then revise the card with the full results soon, so we know the full state of play. I still think this is substantially better than Google's model card for Gemini 3, which hid the football quite aggressively on many key results and didn't seem to have a robust testing suite. Cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is in the Codex wheelhouse. They use 3 tests.
Image, a table titled Vulnerability Identification and Exploitation Capabilities Evaluations, lists 3 assessments with columns for evaluation, capability, and description. The rows are Capture the Flag, Professional, for vulnerability identification and exploitation in competitive challenges, CVE Bench for consistency in finding and exploiting real-world web app vulnerabilities, and Cyber Range for end-to-end cyber operations in an emulated network.
They list limitations that mean that excelling on all 3 evaluations is necessary but not sufficient to be high in cyber capability. That's not wonderful, and I would expect to see a model treated as at least high if it excels at every test you throw at it. If you disagree, again, you need to be throwing a harder test. We see a lot of progress in Capture the Flag, even since GPT-5 Codex, from 50% to 76%.
Image, a bar chart titled Professional CTFs shows pass at 12 rates with error bars for 4 models. GPT-5, no browsing. 27%, GPT-5 Codex 50%, GPT 5.1, no browsing, 43%, and GPT 5.1 Codex Max 76%. The green GPT 5.1 Codex Max bar is the highest, indicating a clear performance lead over the blue comparison models.
The EVA bench also shows big improvement from 53% to 80%.
Image. A bar chart titled CVE Bench Blind 0 Day compares 4 models, GPT-5, no browsing, at 43%, GPT-5 Codex at 53%, GPT 5.1, no browsing, at 61%, and GPT 5.1 Codex Max at 80%. The first 3 blue bars are labeled comparison models with small error bars, while the highest green bar denotes GPT 5.1 Codex Max. The y-axis spans 0%, 100%, and the image is captioned Figure 7.
Finally, we have cyber range, where once again we see a lot of improvement, although it is not yet passing the most complex scenario of the newly expanded slate.
Image. The image shows a table titled Table 9 Scenarios, comparing pass/fail/partial results across 4 model variants: GPT-5, GPT-5 Codex, GPT 5.1, GPT 5.1 Codex Max, for several cybersecurity scenarios with brief descriptions. The newest model passes most scenarios: simple privilege escalation, basic C2, Azure SSRF, online retailer, coffee roasters, financial capital, is partial on leaked token, and fails medium C2, while earlier models mostly fail or are not evaluated.
It passed leaked token by exploiting an unintended misconfiguration, only partially solving part of the intended attack path. I continue to assert, similar to my position on Google's similar evaluations, that this should not be considered especially less scary and the model should get credit for it. I see only 2 possibilities. 1. 76%, 80%, and 7 out of 8 on your 3 tests triggers the next level of concern. 2. You need harder tests. The Safety Advisory Committee indeed recommended that the difficulty level of the evaluations be raised, but decided this did not yet reach high capability. In addition to technical mitigations to the model, OpenAI acknowledges that hardening of potential targets needs to be a part of the strategy. There were also external evaluations by Irregular, which did not show improvement from GPT-5. That's weird, right?
The model displayed moderate capabilities overall. Specifically, when compared to GPT-5, GPT 5.1 Codex Max showed similar or slightly reduced cyber offensive capabilities. GPT 5.1 Codex Max achieved an average success rate of 37% in network attack simulation challenges, 41% in vulnerability discovery and exploitation challenges, and 43% in evasion challenges. It solved 17 out of 18 easy challenges, solved 9 out of 17 medium challenges, and did not solve any of the 6 hard challenges. Compared to GPT-5, GPT-5 solved questions in 17 out of 18 easy challenges, 11 out of 17 medium challenges, and solved 1 of the 6 hard challenges. Irregular found that GPT 5.1 Codex Max's overall similarity in the cyber capability profile to GPT-5 and its inability to solve hard challenges would provide only limited assistance to a moderately skilled cyber offensive operator, and B, do not suggest that it could automate end-to-end cyber operations against reasonably hardened targets, or C, enable the discovery and exploitation of operationally relevant vulnerabilities.
That's a decline in capability, but OpenAI released Codex and then Codex Max for a reason. They talk throughout about its substantially increased abilities, and they present Max as an improved model, and Max does much better than either version of GPT-5 on all 3 of OpenAI's internal evals. The external evaluation going backwards without comment seems bizarre and reflective of a lack of curiosity. What happened? AI self-improvement. The AI that self-improves is plausibly Codex plus Codex Max shaped. That doesn't mean we are especially close to getting there.
Image. A table titled Table 10, Overview of AI Self-Improvement Evaluations lists evaluation, capability, and description columns. It enumerates SWE Lancer Diamond /ICSWE, Paper Bench, MLE Bench, OpenAI PRs, and OpenAI Proof Q&A, describing real-world tasks such as software engineering, ML paper replication, data science competitions, reproducing pull requests, and debugging/diagnosis.
On SWE Lancer Diamond, we jumped from 67% to 80%. On Paperbench 10, we moved from 24%, GPT-5, to 34%, GPT-5.1, to 40%. On MLE Bench 30, we moved from 8%, GPT-5, to 12%, GPT-5.1, to 17%. On OpenAI PRs, we moved from 45% to 53%. On OpenAI Proof Q&A, we moved from 2% to 8%. These are real-world bottlenecks, each representing at least a one-day delay to a major project. A jump up to 8% on this is a really big deal.
Sian O. Haigertaig. Miles Brundage already picked up on this, but it deserves more attention. A jump from 2% GPT-5 to 8% GPT-5.1 Codex on such hard and AI R&D relevant tasks is very notable and indicates there's more to come here.
Are we there yet? No. Are we that far away from potentially being there? Also no. METR found Codex Max to be in line with expectations and finds that enabling either rogue replication or AI R&D automation within 6 months would require a significant trend break. 6 months is not that long a period in which to be confident, even if we fully trust this judgment. As noted at the top, GPT 5.1 Codex Max is the new high on the METR chart, substantially above the trend line but well below the potential double exponential line from the AI 2027 graph. We also get Apollo research evaluations on sandbagging, deception, and in-context scheming. Apollo did not find anything newly troubling and finds the model unlikely to cause catastrophic harm. Fair enough for now. The frog, it is boiling. This incremental improvement seems fine, but yes, it boils. Reactions. I have seen essentially no organic reactions of any sort to Codex Max. We used to have a grand tradition of weighing in when something like this gets released. If it wasn't anything, people would say it wasn't anything. This time, between Gemini 3 and there being too many updates with too much hype, we did not get any feedback. I put out a reaction thread. A number of people really like it. Others aren't impressed. A gestalt of everything suggests it is a modest upgrade, so the take here seems clear. It's a good model, sir. Codex got better. Early signs are that Claude got a bigger upgrade with Opus 4.5, but it's too soon to be sure.
This has been an episode of the Don't Worry About the Vase podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, please visit thezv.substack.com to support the author. If you enjoy having AI-narrated episodes, please note this is a listener-supported podcast. To receive new posts and support the cost of creation, consider becoming a subscriber at dwatvpodcast.substack.com. Thanks for listening.